Last summer, I conducted research on contraception access in Ethiopia. I was a part of a team of 4 students from the University of Michigan who spent 9 weeks traveling to health posts in rural and urban areas. We interviewed doctors and nurses and observed family planning consultations and procedures. We were there to support the Ethiopian Ministry of Health's aim to address overpopulation through making contraception more accessible. This course taught me that concerns about overpopulation have often resulted in the regulation of women of color's reproduction in very harmful ways. This story of harm can be witnessed in the experiences of Latinx women, including Puerto Rican women and women of Mexican descent who were forced or coerced into sterilization or contraception by American healthcare providers. In the 1930s, the U.S. government was worried that overpopulation in Puerto Rico would lead to social and economic distress. In response to those fears, they passed laws making sterilization free and legal for women. Most women were not aware that the procedure was permanent, and many agreed to it due to a lack of affordable alternative options. The procedure became so ubiquitous it was referred to as la operación. Women were coerced into sterilization as healthcare workers went door to door, and many employers discriminated against women who were not sterilized. By 1965, 1/3 of all Puerto Rican mothers aged 20 to 49 were sterilized. In the 1970s, women of Mexican descent were also coerced into sterilization in the Los Angeles County Medical Center. Because of the government's fear of overpopulation, President Nixon's science advisor issued a public call concerning the issue. The prime task of every human institution should be to halt population growth. Every human institution, school, university, church, family, government, and international agency should set this as its primary task. Due to statements like these, doctors felt a call to duty in terms of controlling population growth. The concern around overpopulation was also tied to other cultural and political agendas when it came to Mexican and Mexican American women. As sociologist Elena R. Gutierrez notes, for pregnant Mexican immigrant women in California during the 1970s, the issue of welfare and overpopulation were immutably tied to larger issues of citizenship and of who was rightfully deserving of social benefits such as medical care. Mexican origin women were often not seen as worthy of social benefits that American taxes paid for. These women were considered to be a burden to the U.S. social welfare system. One way that doctors controlled this supposed problem was coercing women by not using the name sterilization or informing women of the permanence of the procedure. Instead saying tying tubes, which made some women believe the procedure was reversible. Some doctors took advantage of their citizenship status, threatening them with deportation if they refused the procedure. Others used language barriers to their advantage, and since there were no translators, some women did not understand what they were consenting to. In some circumstances, doctors lied to their patients, telling them they might die or be at risk if they do not get the procedure. Lastly, many asked women to sign consent during their last stages of labor, when they did not have the capacity to make an informed decision. This terrible history of forced and coerced sterilizations reflect our society's ideas about who is worthy to reproduce and who has the right to motherhood. Rather than making it easy for women of color to be mothers, women of color's bodies became a site of control in service of solving overpopulation issues. While contraception should always be accessible to those who want it, it's important to be aware of how the U.S. has often used sterilization to control women of color's bodies when responding to overpopulation concerns.